In this video, I'm going to show you how you can change the default right-click menu of your browser to a custom right-click menu. And it is in fact too easy. We are using Next.js and Tailwind in this tutorial. Let me show you what is the output of this tutorial. So this is the page that I want to use it in this tutorial. And if I right-click everywhere, for example, here you can see that this is the default right-click menu of my browser, but inside of this text area, if I right click, I have this beautiful custom right click or context menu. So this is it, and I want to show you that how you can implement this functionality inside of your website. And for this tutorial, I'm going to use this project, and you can download this project from this GitHub repository. The link of it would be in the video description, and you can download it and come with me. After downloading this project, you need to install the required libraries. So you need to go to View, Terminal, and here you need to type npm I or npm install. But I already used this command, and you can see that I have node modules. So after this, you can use npm run dev to open our project on the local host. Well, this is my project. So I created a new menu for this project, which is a context menu. So let's go here in the singular menu on the context menu. Let's click on this, and we will go to localhost port 3000 slash singular slash context menu. So this is the page I want to work on it. So let's go to the code and start. Let's close the terminal. We don't need it for now. So we can go to app in singular in context menu in page.js. This is the page that I want to use it in this tutorial, and I already created it. So let's go to the components folder, and inside of this component I must create a new folder. So I create a new folder with name of context menu, and inside of this I want to create my component. So let's click this icon and create a new component name context menu.jsx and press enter. So this is our new component. Now let's create it. So I use RASCE, and this is my new component. So instead of React, I just import the user set because I need it. You will see that later. And that's it. This is our new component. First, let's see what do we have to receive as our props. Let me add some comments here for you. So what do we need in this component? First, we need to receive an X and Y, and this X and Y are the positions of our context menu. You will see that soon. Then we need to receive an unclosed context menu prop to call the close function on the parent of this menu. Then we need a parent ref. We need the reference of our parent to close context menu when we click outside of this context menu. And then we need to receive a children, and we will show these children dynamically inside of our component. So let's receive them. I go here and I will destructure them directly here. So I use X and Y, and also I receive this unclosed context menu. Also I receive the parent ref, and also I need children. So this is it. The first step is we need to render these children. So inside of this division, I will render them. That's it. Now let's use format document. Okay, this is my component. And for this division, I want to have some class names to show it more beautiful. So let's use some class names here. I use a padding of 2. Also, I use the absolute, and I use a great Z index. And also, I need to have a border and a border of gray of 300. And also, I need to have a BG gray of 100. And I use the rounded of LG, so it would be more beautiful. Let's format our document. This is it. And after this, we need to change the position of this context menu on the top and on the left. So we need to adjust it, and because we are using Tailwind CSS, we don't use them dynamically inside of class name. It's better to create them as some style. So let's create it, and here I create them, const of menu style. And for this style, I must have the top as something, and also I need to have the left. So for this, I use this dynamic value of y pixel, and also let's copy this quickly, and here let's use the x value. So this is the style of this menu. Let's format the document. So we use the top and this must be the left. So we change the top and the left of this division using this menu style, and let's pass this to our component. So after this class name, I use the style of this menu style. This is it. So let's format the document. Well, this is it. This is the component we need to use, the context menu. And for now, we have a division with some class name and some styles and also a children. So this is it. Let's go and see how we can use it. So we need to go to the page.jsx, and here we need to create a new state. So let's create it. And you know that when we need to create a state in Next.js, we need to use a use client. So let's use the client here to say to Next.js. If you're a React developer, you don't need this. But if you're a Next.js developer, you need to use this use client in Approter Next.js applications. So I need to create a new state, and I use the context menu state, and also I use set context menu equals to a use state. And for this state, I want to have an object. And inside this object, I want to have three different values. A show, which is a boolean with value of true or false, with initial value of false. And also, I want to have an x and a y. So in this state of context menu, we will save the show and x and y. That's it. And also, after that, we need to have a reference. So I will create a const of text area ref, which is a use ref, and this is it. So after this, let's create our text area. So I will go here inside this line 14, and here I create my text area. That's it. And for the reference of it, I will use this text area ref. And also we need to have some class names for it. So let's use the padding of 2 and also a border and a border of gray of 300 and also rounded up MD and width of full. After this, let's have the rows of, let's say 15 for this component. That's good. And this is it. So the next thing is we need to have the event of showing our menu. So you know that we have on click and some other options like on click, on change, and a lot of events from our JavaScript. So the event we are using here is on context menu. So in this on context menu, we need to receive the event, and we can use console.log to see this event. So let's go and see what do we have until now, and I format the document. So let's go and see what do we have. Well, it seems that our use state is not defined because we need to import it, and it is not imported dynamically. Let's do this. So here I will import the use state as well as use ref. Let's go and check it again. Well, this is my text area and you can see this. So let's inspect and go to the console. And here, if I right click, you can see that I'm seeing this default right click menu. But here you can see I have an event, and this event has client X, client Y, control key, and a lot of options. And the name of it is on context menu. This is it. So let's go and use this and change this menu in our codes. In order to manage the opening of our right click menu or our context menu, instead of this console.log, I will create a new function and I will use it here. So I create the open context menu handler and I pass the event to it. And let's go and create this. So here I will use this and I receive the event, and this is so in first step I use e dot prevent default. Then I want to use the page X and the page Y of our event, which is the exact location of our cursor. So I use destructure all of them from the E or from the event, and the name of them is the page X and also page Y. This is it. And after this, we can use them to set them into our context. So how we can do this? It's too easy. We can use this set context menu and we can pass an object to it. So for the show, we say it is true for now. And also for the X, we use page of X. And for the Y, we use page of Y. So where you know that when we click right click on our text area, this action would be triggered and we call this. So we will first use e.prevent default and then we use page of x and page of y. Let's log them to see them better. So I use console.log both of these. So let's copy this with this object so we see them as object. Let's use format documents. So we will use set context menu of show us true and x of page and y is page y. Now we know that the show is true. So let's go and try to render our context menu. So here after this we can open a curly brace to use JavaScript. And you know that we have a context menu state, inside that we have show. So if the context menu dot show equals to open, we can simply show an h1 with context menu for now. So let's use format document and test it. So let's open our console. And here, if I right click, you can see that we can log the page X and page Y. And if I right click everywhere, you can see I have the new page X and page Y. And can we show the context menu? Yes, the context menu is here, but it must change to our context menu component. Now you can see that we have access to X and Y. Let's go and use them. So instead of this h1, we can render our component. Let's go and see what do we need in our component. So we need to pass the x and y and also unclose and the parent ref and the children. So we need these parent ref and unclose context menu. And here we have the reference to our text area, which is its parent, but we don't have a function to close our context menu. So let's create it. I will copy this quickly. It's a good idea to use copy paste in our components and our file. So instead of open, this time I want it to be close handler. So this will be const of close context menu handler. I don't need this. Let's delete. And I don't need this and this. I just need to go back to my initial value. So I can simply copy this line and paste it here. That's it. Let's delete this extra spaces. Let's format the document. So in calling the close context menu handler, I just set my context menu to show to false, x is 0 and y is 0. That's it. Now we have the function and we can call this context menu component. Let's do this. Let's go and here in the line 32, instead of this h1, let's delete it and I call my context menu. Let's see, can we dynamically import it? Yes, that's good. So, and instead of this self-closing tag, we must use this because we need to pass some children to it. So, this is my context menu. Let's format the document. Good. Now, this context menu must have some props. Let's pass them. So, what was the first one? The first one was x. So, for the x, you can use the context menu dot x. And this context menu is coming from this state. That's it. And after this, we have a y. So for the y, we can use the context menu dot y. And after that, we have this unclose menu context. And for that, we call the close context menu handler. So we are passing this function to our component, and this function will close our context menu or our right click menu. And after that, we had a parent ref, and for this parent ref, we use this text area ref. So let's copy this and use format document. So what we have done, we check that if the context menu dot show is true, we can return this context menu with x and y and these. And inside of that, I just rendered this is my context menu. So let's go and see what do we have until now. Well, let's right click and this is it. So you can see that everywhere you can right click and your context menu is shown. So this is the console log, we don't need it. Let's close. So if I right click here, you can see that I can see this and we have the page X and page Y, which is related to our current cursor position. So this is showing and I think everything is good. Now, how we can close this context menu. So you can see that I'm clicking, it is not close, but we have a close handler. So how we can do this? Let's go and handle the close of this context menu, and also we can close outside of this, and it must be closed. So for this we use that ref. Let's go and use that reference to see how we can do this. So I'm passing the parent ref to this component, and also I'm passing the unclosed context menu to context menu. And we are receiving them here as our props. Let's use them. So I have this user state, but I think instead of user state, I need use effect. That's it. And before that, let me show you something. So if you use this unclick, and if you pass this unclosed context menu, you can close. Let's format the document. So if you use this command unclick equals to unclose context menu, you can close the context menu by clicking on the menu. Let me show you that quickly before continue. So here, if I click on the menu, you can see that it is closed. So I right click, it would be open, and if I click outside, nothing happened. But if I click on my menu with left click, it would be closed. But this is not what I want, because I want to close it only when I click outside of this menu, and I want to handle the clicking of this context menu inside of it. But I'm showing you that you can do this if you want it. So by clicking on it, it's closed, but I don't want this. So let's go and change this functionality. So because I don't need this functionality, I comment this, but you can use it. So let's use format document. No, I want to implement the functionality of clicking outside of this context menu. So we are receiving the parent ref, and let's go and do this. So I here create a use effect, and this is the structure of my use effect. This is the dependency area, and this is the return, the cleanup function. So I need to have a listener function, and I need to add it to document. So I use document dot add event listener, and for what event we need to use it, I use the mouse down, and for this mouse down, I use this listener. So let's create a new function here. So I create a const of click listener, and inside of this I will receive an event, and I will do something. So let's pass this event for now, and this is it. So after the unmounting of this component, I want to remove this from the document. So let's copy this quickly, and inside of this return, let's use document dot remove event listener. From the mouse down, we remove this click listener. So let's use format document. So you can see that this is the basic structure of our React, and this is what we need to do inside of this click listener. Well, we are receiving this event, and this event is coming from the mouse. So we have the location of this mouse. Let's create our menu. So our menu equals to our parent ref if equals dot current, or it's better to be the menu parent. So after this, we check that. We need to check that if it is not exist. So if it is not exist, the menu parent, or the menu parent dot contains the event dot target is false. So in these situations, we need to return, else we call this unclose context menu. Let's format our document, and let's review what we have done. So we created a new listener. We created a new listener, and inside of that, we receive the event. And we check that if I'm clicking on the menu parent and I'm not on the event.target, which is the current menu, I will return, else I will call unclosed menu. So let's check what we have done. We need to call the unclosed context menu just when we are not clicking on the menu itself, and we are outside of the context menu, and we are inside of the parent ref. So we call that, first we create the menu parent, which is the parent ref.current, because this is a use ref, and then we check that if these conditions are true, we return if the menu parent is not exist, or if the menu parent not contains this event.target, else we call unclosed context menu. And this is it. So I think everything is okay here. Let's go and test it. So here, let's right click. It will open. Let's click on it. It would not be closed. Let's close outside and it is closed. So you can see that my right click is working and it will open everywhere I want. And if I left click outside of it, it would be closed. I think that's good and it's okay. Now I just want to show you how you can add dynamic menu to your context menu. Let's go and do this. I will go to page.js and here this is the context menu. Children, inside of that I want to have some items. So in order to create them, first I want to import some icons and let me show you. You know that we previously installed the React icons package here, so I can use React icons. So I import some icons from this library. Let's import them. So I need to import md open in browser and md attach email and md outline archive from React icons slash md. That's it. So you can use it. Then we need to create our items. So let's minimize this return. And here, let's create them. So const of menu items is an array, and I created some objects for them previously. So let me copy paste them here to be more quick. And this is it. So in this menu items, the first one has the ID of 0 with label of open, and I use this icon for it. And I have an onClick, and I say onClick of this item, just alert and open for me. Then I have another item with ID of 1 and label of email and this icon, and I use alert of email on clicking of this. Then I have another one with ID of 2 and label of archive and icon of MD outline archive, and on click I use alert or archive. And you can use any other items you want. So let's use the format document. This is just an example. Let's go to the return, and here instead of this is my context menu, let's delete it and let's create a new division here. And for this division, let's have some class names like flex and flex of column and also a gap of 2. That's it. So inside of that, I want to map over my menu items. So I use menu items.map and I will receive some items. And for each one, I want to return a new division. And for this division, you know that we need to use the key, which is the item.id. And then I want to have some class names. So let's add some class names to it, like flex and items of center and a gap of 2 and a cursor of pointer, and also on hover I wanted to have the text of blue of 600. This is it. And let's have an unclick for it. So I use the unclick, and inside of that I just call the item dot unclick, and after this I can call the close context menu handler. So this is, I can call it from here or from inside of this context menu here. It's up to you, and based on your business logic you can use it. So let's use the format document. So this is a division inside of this item, and for the children of this division, what we can pass, the first thing is I want to use the item dot icon, and after that I use a span and I will use item dot label. Let's right click, format document. Now let's test and see what do we have until now. And here, if I right click, you can see that I have this open and email and archive. And if I click on this open, well, the alerts will be open and then it will be closed. And also for the email and for the archive. So this is that you can see that our context menu is working, and when we click outside of it, it would be closed. And when we click on an item of our context menu, it will work correctly. And that was the tutorial that I wanted to show you. I hope this video helps you. Have a good time and goodbye.